Too many fishermen that way. Let's go this way. All right, today I'm going to talk about a very important subject. Hello, I am Dr. August Dunning, and we talk about dry fasting here. We're going to talk about microplastics today. You know, one of the biggest challenges we have is how much stuff we've accumulated in our own bodies. Little particles of plastic. And it is a real environmental issue. You know, we have our bodies full of this stuff. They've found plaque in the arteries that are full of microplastics. Brain is filling up with microplastics. The intestinal system and gut is filling up with microplastics. Our testes, ovaries, brains, thyroid, heart, filling up with microplastics. How do you deal with it? Well, there's several ways to deal with it. One, of course, is the old 9/11 firefighter trick, which is where you take some flushable niacin, get on a treadmill for 20 minutes, and get your heart rate up, get your circulation up, get the flush up, and then go into an infrared sauna. And you can see here, this particular patient was able to get this stuff out of her back using infrared in this technique. You know, the one way you could, probably avoid it the most is to avoid plastic. Start drinking out of glass. Start using things that don't contribute plastic to your food. Like canned foods, the plastic inside the liner, all this sort of stuff. One of the people that I listen to every now and then, Dr. Berg, said, well, intermittent fasting will help. Well, of course. And therein lies the secret of why you want to dry fast. Intermittent fasting is interesting because what it does is it puts you in a state where you don't eat when you get up, which leaves you in chaperone-mediated autophagy for a little while longer to maybe help to grind some of this stuff up and get rid of it. Inside your cells, you have these organelles and a whole system, the ubiquitin proteasome system, lysosomes to grind stuff and dissolve stuff in hydrolytic acids. The thing is, I've talked about it a lot, sleep is a great way to get rid of some things because it's a flushing system. It's where you get cleaned out, you get flushed out, your cells are able to get rid of stuff and get rid of the toxins and so forth. Hello! And it's a natural way to get rid of stuff. But in this environment, where the air and the water and the food and the soil, it's all contaminated with plastics now, huge plastic gyres out in the oceans destroying sea life, and I look forward to the micronova to some degree because it'll just clean this place up. But dry fasting. Why? One of the things they found is that in the stool, there's a lot of plastic. And it gets in there because there are bile acids that help get rid of some of the stuff. But it's a lymphatic system that's draining into the intestinal system. And you see this at the end of a dry fast. Really strange orange gooey stuff at the end of a dry fast that comes out. That's the stuff you've been able to get rid of. Part of it is microplastics. Lymphatic system is really interesting because it receives all the stuff that the cells evacuate. They evacuate their garbage into the extracellular matrix, and that matrix drains into the lymphatic system. So if you want to get rid of microplastics, the best way is to dry fast. Intermittent fasting is nothing. You may be in there for an extra hour or two when you get up if you don't eat. But if you stop eating and stop drinking for 5 to 7 days, after a couple of days, the glycogens run out, you're running on fat cells, and you've turned on the entire system to flush your body out, grind up this stuff, take these objects into the ubiquitin proteasome system where ubiquitin is plugged onto a toxin, a plastic, an mRNA, aberrant protein sequence, and drags it over to a proteasome where it hooks on and gets ground up into debris that goes, that has to the cell has to perform exocytosis on that debris, which takes it into the extracellular matrix, which takes it in the lymphatic system. So the idea of a soft dry fast where you're bathing and you're showering and stuff helps because it drives the water through the skin. It helps the extracellular matrix flush the stuff into the lymphatic system, and it's a beautiful thing. Dry fasting. None of these guys talk about this. Everybody talks about limiting your intake, limiting that, be careful this, be careful that. Dry fasting takes the worry out of living on this completely polluted planet. And because of that, I talk about dry fasting. 5 days, 7 day. 5 days are pretty easy. You can kind of work it into a work week if you start on a Wednesday and end on a Sunday. And that's how it works. During a dry fast, your body turns on all these regenerating systems, but it also turns on your immune system and all these macrophages that drag the stuff around, that drag the things around, eat them up. Inside your cells, you've got all these mechanisms and structures to take toxins and deal with them because the cells have, every cell has this system, the proteasome system. So every cell has the capability of getting rid of the plastics and toxins and all the other stuff inside of it if it has enough time. And there's the rub. Are you giving your body enough time in an intermittent fast condition? No, you are not. You want to get rid of the problem? Dry fast. No one talks about it because they're all trying to sell products and so forth to help you get rid of the plastics and whatnot. But no, you don't need to. You need a dry fast. Dry fast is pretty easy. You just stop eating and drinking, and then you start eating and drinking about 5 to 7 days later. You see it in my book, The Phoenix Protocol, Dry Fasting for Rapid Healing and Radical Life Extension. Goes along with my other 3 books, but the first one is the main pillar in the tent. You got to dry fast, it starts the whole thing, and I guarantee you, once you actually do a dry fast, and you feel so much better after it, mental clarity, biological activity corrected, and so forth, you'll see where I'm going with this. This is a natural function of the human body to do this. Every animal does it. When they get hurt, they don't eat or drink. They go lay down in some place and heal themselves because your body makes its own water. You don't need to drink water. It's all in the book. I mean, check it out and share it with people. So if you want to get rid of microplastics, just dry fast. Of course avoid them. Of course don't eat out of plastic containers. Of course don't microwave your food in a plastic container. But moreover, don't microwave your food because it destroys the catabolic breakdown capability of the food. So it damages food. But microplastics, pretty easy. All you got to do is dry fast. It takes the worry out of living on Earth. Anyway, please subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment. Comments help my algorithm quite a bit, and it gets the system to be able to promote these videos, which is for your health and everybody else around you. Anyway, talk to you later. I'm going to have a walk here. See ya.